On this episode, we are hoping to build a strong connection with our listeners. That's right, it's Death by Internet on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Hello, all you maniacs out there, and welcome to Attack of the Killer Podcast, the podcast that puts the load in downloading. This is episode 281, and we're going to be talking about internet horror, or as we call it, Death by Internet. If they did a Lost Boys remake, that would be the line.
Yeah.
Instead of Death by Stereo. If this is your first...
By 7.1 surround sound.
Yeah, there you go. If this is your first time listening to the show, I can explain. We are a horror movie podcast where a group of friends, we get together with a topic and we talk about films within that topic. We're all just friends, hanging out, chilling. So there may be spoilers, just to let you know. If you like the show, I recommend becoming what we call an attacker. An attacker is a very special fan of the show. You know what? It's way more than just being a fan of the show. Mm-hmm. When you're an attacker, you're family. So if you go to jointheattacker.com, donate to our Patreon, you will get rewarded more than any other podcast rewards their Patreons. Because by supporting our show, you have the honor of becoming what we call an attacker, part of the Killer Podcast family. You get all kinds of amazing perks by being an attacker. You get a membership card, certificate, sticker. You can get bonus episodes. You get early access to these episodes. You can get our various YouTube shows like Insane Mike's 1 Minute Top 10 list, killer critiques, and video updates. There is so much stuff you can get, so much more. We love our Attack of the Killer Podcast family so much, and we want to climb to the highest mountains and shout out every member's name. But we live in Iowa, so instead we're just going to shout them out on the show, like our newest attacker, Emily Randolph.
Woo! Yeah.
Thank you, Emily, for becoming an attacker.
Welcome.
Emily has just recently joined our highest tier that we call the Final Chapter. Thank you so much for being an attacker. Emily, you are now one of us.
We'll make her one of us. A loving cop, a loving cop. We accept her one of us. We accept her one of us.
Gooba gobble, gooba gobble.
We accept her, we accept her. Google gobble, Google gobble. One of us, one of us. Google gobble.
They're going to make you one of them. My peacock.
Again, thanks, Emily. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce you to the podcast crew. His internet router is in the basement. You could say he has come from the land down under. Tad, everybody.
Hey.
Maybe.
Not too bad.
Fonzie.
He hates using Microsoft internet browsers. It has him on edge. Jason.
Oh, I hate the joke and Microsoft Edge. It's all true. Thanks for listening, everybody.
His dog has a strong internet connection. That's why he named him Hotspot. Andy.
Heidi ho, Winslow. Thanks for listening.
Oh my goodness.
We know he's a cat person. Come on.
This is true.
I am.
Hey guys, how awesome is Shudder?
Oh man.
Very.
Really?
I know, right? Like, where else can you see Joe Bob Briggs marry a couple in Vegas while watching Necromantic?
Literally nowhere else.
Literally. Only on Shudder. And you poor fools out there still don't have Shudder? You missed out. It was amazing. But you don't have to miss out anymore. You can get Shudder in your life today. Do it. Now, we here at Attack of the Killer Podcast, we're willing to give you a month of Shudder for free. That's right, free! Just enter our promo code AOTKP, and you will get a 30-day free trial of the best in horror streaming. Get Shudder now. Again, that promo code is AOTKP. Speaking of necrophilia, here's Tad with what we watched.
Am I having deja vu, or did you do that same transition last week with necrophilia and me?
Did I?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I'm a type, I guess. I don't know. Let's just jump right into it. Andy, what have you watched?
Other than I got a few things here. I've been watching the new White Lotus series with the wife. That's also very good. I suggest you guys check that out. But I got a few Blu-rays here that I went through. Have you guys ever watched any of the Ip Man series? Kung Fu?
No, I haven't. I'm
The IP thing?
Yeah.
Is that what is it? Man, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
well, they
think
call him Ip Man. It's the guy that was there's like four of them, and this was the last one. It's the guy that trained Bruce Lee, and just basically it's the last part where he's trying to get his son, some schooling and overseas, and he reconnects with Bruce Lee. It's just a lot of your traditional kung fu stuff, but it's got Scott Adkins in it, and I really dig him as in Yuri Boyka. I don't know why that's so hard to say in the Undisputed series, but a lot of fast hand stuff. I mean, it's pretty good.
we all like fast hand stuff.
And that's right,
You know we do.
fast hands.
I might own one of those movies. I remember them being at like Big Lots for like $1.50, and I probably picked up the Blu-rays, and they've been dusty on my shelf for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not bad. I know this is Ip Man 4 that I've got, but I know like the third one had like Mike Tyson in it, and Donnie Yen fought Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson's like punching out windows and shit. And I wanted to check that one out too. But the big selling point on this one was Scott Adkins, and he's kind of a prick in this movie, but yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's worth a watch.
I'm sold on pricks and fast hands.
Yes, pricks in fast hands. Um, next thing up, I got a Claudio Fragasso movie that is just it goes into that it's so bad it's good, and it's called Night Killer. You guys ever seen this?
Nope.
You probably shouldn't, but
Thank you.
it's,
Appreciate it.
it's just about this guy in a mask that traumatizes this woman, and he's very rapey and very killy, and but the backstory goes that she's so traumatized that she can't remember who it is. So like her husband that she doesn't even know that she has because she has amnesia has to re-traumatize her in order to like kickstart her memory. It's a weird fucking movie. So like he like basically kind of stalks her even though that she's her husband so she can remember who this killer is that's still going around. And yeah, the acting is terrible. It's the guy's the line delivery is just he's the way he says fried chicken, like fried chicken. It's hilarious to watch. There's a great one liner. It's just he says, "I got molested in the men's room," which is hilarious. And the lead in it is she's really pretty to look at, and you may recognize her as the girl the girl that's not Adrienne Barbeau in the Lamborghini in Cannonball Run. And after watching this movie, I am thoroughly convinced I know the reason why they didn't give her any lines in the Cannonball Run because she's a terrible actress. But yeah, very pretty to look at. I mean, you can watch it once. It's almost comes across as like a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff in a sense. But yeah, I only bought it because I was on I'm still on a bit of an Italian horror kick. But I can say I've seen it, but yeah, I may just watch it again at some point just for shits and giggles. But that's Night Killer. Next one up, I wanted to watch. I wanted it because it basically has something that I absolutely had to see, and it's basically Marines, ex Vietnam veterans killing a hippie cult, and the leader of the hippie cult is Sam Raimi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he plays like this dirty hippie that, once you see that it's Sam Raimi and he's trying to act all crazy, I can't take it serious, but I still really enjoyed the movie. And it's called Thou Shalt Not Kill Except. And
Yeah, that movie's great.
huh?
That movie's great. Love it.
Yeah, it's a good time actually. I really enjoyed it. Um, it's very very low budget, but it also has Sam and Ted Raimi in it, and Bruce Campbell was in the original short, and they also have this on the DVD. I believe, yeah, it was called Stryker's War,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's actually it's not bad. It's I bought it from Synapse, and
Yeah, I think I
if
got
you can
that
check it out
somewhere else.
online, definitely do. I think you'll have fun with it. Anyway, Thou Shalt Not Kill Except. The next one, I've been wanting to see this one for a while. It's called Perdita Durango. Have you guys ever heard of this?
No.
Nope.
Okay. It is a freaking crazy, strange ass movie about this guy that does like Santeria, which is, like this sort of kind of like a Mexican voodoo. It's got Rosie Perez and Javier Bardem, and he has an even more fucked up haircut than in this movie than he did in No Country for Old Men. It's very hard to describe, but I'll tell it to you like this. Imagine take True Romance and Wild at Heart and then have it co-written and co-directed by Robert Rodriguez and David Lynch. And I think you would pretty much get Perdita Durango. It's I bought the 4K version from Severn, and it's got the 10 minutes that they took out. Because it was just too, it's just riddled with nudity, and it's very, very, very violent. But it's a fun ride. It's a good companion piece to any Tarantino or Rodriguez movie, or any Lynch movie for that matter. I really recommend it. I mean, it's batshit crazy, and it's got let's see, it'd be Heather Graham's sister in it, which I didn't even know she had a sister. Screamin' Jay Hawkins is in this,
Oh wow, cool.
right? Don Stroud, James Gandolfini, Alex Cox, who was the guy he directed Sid and Nancy and Repo Man. Yeah, it's a very very unique film, and if you're a fan of like of all the guys that I mentioned, it's definitely worth watching. The last one I'm going to talk about, I finally got around to watching Terrifier 2.
Yay.
Mhm.
I liked it. The death scenes are like really crazy prolonged, and I get that. I get what they were going for. It's got some good stuff in it. It almost ventures into like Nightmare on Elm Street, kind of territory in its themes. But I don't know if I'm really digging the whole He-Man Power Sword gimmick. And another thing, I'm pretty sure that Damien Leone doesn't know how blood loss works, because there's no way that chick in the bedroom would have been alive after losing that much blood, let alone saying
It's
Bob.
itchy and scratchy like in real life.
Yeah, it almost, they wanted to go like super brutality, but it's like they went so far that it almost becomes comical. And I think that's the one. I don't have a lot of bitches about this movie. I mean, other than, it's probably about a half hour too long, but I'm still entertained. I'm still glad that I watched it. I couldn't get the Clown Cafe song out of my fucking head for a couple of days.
Yeah, because it plays for 20 straight minutes in a scene that's
good
way over. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I could see why people like it, but I mean, it's got problems, and that's just my opinion. But I mean, like the stuff with like the creepy little girl, I love that, that when her eyes are lighting up. I mean, it's got really good stuff in it. But I mean, I just think it's sometimes it's like I feel like it's 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag sometimes.
Absolutely.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's all I'll say about that. I'm glad that I watched it. It entertained me, but that's what I watched.
If you want some more Terrifier 2 action, Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe, their latest episode is all on Terrifier 2. And you can check that out on the pfpn.com. Jason,
Plug.
what have you watched?
Well, not a
Guessing
whole-
not Terrifier 2.
No, I don't have time for that long ass movie.
What? You
I
said
know.
those words?
I know, isn't that great? I've only was able to watch a couple things. My current favorite for the last year or two now, stand-up comedian is Nate Bargatze. I fucking love this dude, and just the funniest guy, and he's fairly clean and not raunchy and not and kind of dumb, but like no, he's great, and he just had a new special come out. I think it was on Prime, called Hello World, and it's fantastic. Like every one of his. Nate Bargatze,
Okay. Cool.
Bargatze.
What kind of comedy does he do?
Stand up.
Stand up. Let's see, this one, Grammy nominated. He delivers a family-friendly take on a variety of topics, including disadvantages of being the firstborn, the challenges of playing golf with your wife, and what happens when a bald eagle touches your head. Yeah, he's Southern, so he has kind of a little bit of a simpleton, dumb guy kind of presence, but clearly smart and fucking funny. Yeah, so Nate Bargatze, and I think he's got something on Netflix, if not two, and he's out there.
And where did you watch this special you're talking about?
I think it was on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And the only movie I got to watch since last time, thank God I got to watch it. I wished I'd have watched it, or it would have been on my top 10 last year, but Bones and All.
You loved it, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Figured you would. It's right up your... It's a Jason movie for sure.
It is. It's a love story, man, of course. But man, it's pretty fucked. This movie's pretty crazy. And it's just neat that it's like the way it's handled, it's like so intense, the concept of cannibalism, but like at the same time it's like also like okay, it exists and it's just a thing.
It's part of life, yeah.
It's part of life.
It's just like a mental illness with anybody else. It's like depression. Someone has depression or someone is diabetic. They're a cannibal and they have to eat or they'll
you're just
be
an
sick.
eater, and that's just one. Yeah, it's like it's common, but it's also like holy fuck, it's still eating people. So and so it's a kind of a road movie. It's kind of definitely a love story, and it's freaking fantastic. I loved it.
And not even a nomination for cinematography or score. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, like nothing at all.
Robbed.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's what I watched.
All right, Mikey.
All
What have you
right.
seen?
Okay, so, hey, Jason,
Yeah.
I finally watched a movie that we attempted to watch a long time ago after walking through the mountains of
Oh shit.
Park City, Utah, to watch one particular movie.
You finally did it.
And we were denied. I finally found it. It's on Tubi.
Of course it is.
Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace from 2004.
Yeah.
Directed by Lee DeMarbre, I think is how you say his name. He did a couple of these Harry Knuckles short films, and then this was the feature film follow-up. And he also did Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, which I love. He's a Canadian filmmaker. He definitely has his own unique style, shooting, well, his early stuff anyway, shooting everything in 16 millimeter. And his entire audio track is done in post. Like all dialogue is overdubbed, and sound effects, all that Foley, all that stuff is done. Everything is done in post. There's no in camera. He's almost like an Italian filmmaker. There's no in camera audio recording. So, Special Agent Harry Knuckles, aka Spanish Fly, is on the case to find the missing pearl necklace. He fights Bigfoot and teams up with El Santo along the way. And that's what I love. He just throws all these weird things in them, and it's got like such a hyper energy in its editing and its low budget action scenes. There's a scene where he uses fish as nunchucks. That's always fun.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like Rob Zombie's wet dream.
I wonder if he has seen these. He needs to. They're just a lot of fun. So I highly recommend that. Checking some of his stuff out. I don't know where you can find the original Harry Knuckles films, the first two short films, but you can get Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace on Tubi.
I'm sure they're all on Tubi.
Probably. I don't know. Does Tubi do short films? If not, you could probably find those on YouTube. But it was thanks to Troma that introduced us to this guy in the first place. One of their Best of Troma Dance DVDs they released back in the day had the first Harry Knuckles short on it. And so when Jason and I went to our first Troma Dance, we had found out that Harry Knuckles, the feature film, Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace, was a selection of that year's Troma Dance. And so we were pretty excited to see it. But then it turned out it wasn't showing at like the actual event. It was showing at like the
cabin.
Yeah, the Troma cabin, and it was like a special invite only. And we were buddying up with I forget his name now. The in-house editor guy that does basically all of Lloyd's tech work. We were buddying up to him, and he invited us to it. We were so excited and so proud, and we're walking
hiking,
getting lost amongst all these cabins in the mountains, getting lightheaded, and we finally find the cabin, and it's just like all the interns are just laying around,
asleep on the floor,
sleeping or drinking or playing cards, just so uninterested in what's actually playing on this little tiny tube TV. Yeah. And they didn't even actually end up playing it. I don't think that, if I remember right, they couldn't find it or something. Yeah.
Some shit. It's the biggest waste of Troma is just naturally deflating of a lot of things, but that just killed the buzz of the whole trip.
Yep.
Almost.
Yep. Anyway.
Yeah.
Did you see Tubi's Super Bowl ad?
Oh yeah. I
That
yelled
was
at you 'cause
awesome.
I thought it was happening.
A lot of people. It freaked a lot of people out.
What was it?
It made it look like it was on the Super Bowl, and then someone hit like the menu and went to Tubi and opened up a movie.
Like the app,
Yeah.
appeared and it was loading the app, and then
So
phone
people
screen
freaking
came
out.
on, and it started flipping around, and we're like,
And it was
"Dad,
towards
get off
the-
remote."
Yeah, and it was like towards the end of the game, so people are losing their shit that someone.
That was an actual Super Bowl ad?
Yeah.
Oh, that's genius.
It was awesome.
Now I love Tubi even more. I notice when I pull up the Tubi app on my phone, I watch stuff on Tubi on my phone. It pops up now this little ad thing or whatever, their new little catchphrase or whatever, where it's like an upside down rabbit hole with a rabbit peeking out and something about going down the rabbit hole. It's like they know what they are, and that's great. I love them for it. All right, so getting back on track here. The next thing I'll talk about that I watched is I finally got to see Violent Night. Oh my God, Simon and I watched it, and it was awesome. Freaking loved it. What's his face as Santa?
David Harbour.
David Harbour. I love him more and more every time I see him in something, and He was just the perfect casting for this. It was so great. You got John Leguizamo in it. He was cool. Beverly D'Angelo. Haven't seen her in forever, so that was awesome. And I didn't realize, or maybe it's been talked about. I'm pretty sure it's been talked about on here before when you guys probably mentioned it before, but it didn't. It didn't come back into my memory until watching it that it was directed by the guy who did the Dead Snow movies.
Mm.
Yeah, Tommy.
Wiseau. Kidding.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau. But yeah, it's so much fun. It is hilarious, and I highly recommend watching it.
I know they greenlit the sequel,
would
but I
hope
don't
so.
know how they're going to pull that off. But
I could see this going. Just using this this version of Santa Claus, I could see like a whole franchise out of it. So.
I mean, they made Die Hard too, so
That's true.
right, yeah, because it's just basically Die Hard, Home Alone, Santa.
See,
Yep.
Everybody makes that comparison that it's Die Hard and Home Alone, but with Santa Claus. And so when it got to the Home Alone elements, I was laughing my ass off because it is so much more violent
Oh
than
yeah,
than Home Alone, and just how giddy that little girl is as she is slaughtering these terrorists with her death traps. It was great, so funny. The last thing I'm going to bring up is a film from 1997. I'm a big fan of like the New York underground scene of the 80s, late 70s through the early 90s. The underground underground film movement of that era. Back in the day, I was a huge fan of the Film Threat magazine and its partner magazine, Film Threat Video Guide. The video guide was my favorite because that covered the lowest of the low. It was like all this just like super guerrilla indie stuff that no one else would even consider talking about in their magazines. And the Film Threat Video Guide was basically like a Bible to me. But the problem was, especially back in those days, it was impossible to find that stuff, find those films. So there was a filmmaker made a couple films in this era. His name is Frank Grow, and he did a short that got rave reviews in Film Threat Video Guide called Red and Rosie that I've always wanted to see. And I stumbled upon his feature film, Love God. So that's the one I'm talking about here. Love God from 1997. It's pretty awesome. I probably would have loved it more when I was younger, but now as a bitter old man, it was a little too hyper for me. I wanted to tell it several times to calm down. But it's very hyperactive. It's kind of remind me as far as like tone wise go. Its energy as like Fried Berry. That it's just like nonstop, go, crazy camera work, outrageous camera work, but an overly loud, rocking soundtrack through the whole entire movie with no levity to the score, and it's fine, and I dug it, but at the same time, if it had been a longer movie, I probably would have gotten annoyed by it. But basically, Frank Grow is one of these New York filmmakers from this scene, so it's got some great connection. It shows a lot of great sleazy New York in it, which is always great. And it stars Will Keenan, Tromeo from Tromeo and Juliet.
Tromeo.
Yeah, he's the lead in this as LaRue, and he is sent out to the streets from the mental hospital after the mental hospital lost its funding, and they had to release all their mental patients, and they put all the mental patients up in this hotel called the Love Hotel. He ends up falling in love with this mute girl, and he has a roommate with Tourette syndrome, and he's also throughout the film being chased by a prehistoric worm that inhabits people's bodies and mutates them. There you go. That's the movie in a nutshell.
It's a story as old as time.
Yep.
It's just the filming and the editing of it, and just this no budget, over the top energy of let's just push in the camera on every shot or do crazy angles or whatever. is throughout this whole thing, and I found it. I really enjoyed it. I think the aesthetic of it, of the way it was shot, and the low budgetness of it, and that time period, really made it work for me. But it can be a little daunting. So, but that's what I watched.
Hey, Chad,
Excellent.
what have you
What's up?
watched?
Oh, I'm the opposite of Andy and Mike. I watched a bunch of Oscar nominated movies. My favorite of the bunch has been the Banshees of Inisherin. I think it's how it's pronounced. Inisherin. Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in a movie directed by Martin McDonough. Fantastic, funny, very dark comedy about two friends. One of the friends wakes up one day and decides he does not want to be friends with the other one, and they have a conflict. And he threatens his friend that if you don't leave me alone, I will cut my fingers off one by one and leave them on your doorstep. And yeah, I won't say anything else, but it's one of my favorites, I guess, of the nominees. It's not Everything Everywhere All at Once, but it's my second favorite so far of all the nominees I've watched. It's on HBO Max. Check that out. It's getting, both of them are nominated. There's a young kid in it that's nominated. It's up for Best Picture. It's fantastic.
Now,
What's that?
I just wanted to ask is I know that the wife watched it and she really enjoyed it, but I was just like, I was wondering, I know that they were together in the movie In Bruges.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the same director?
It is. Yep.
Okay, good. So, well, yeah, then I really want to watch it now because they were great together in Bruges.
Yeah, they're a weird sort of dynamic, but Colin Farrell's so fantastic. I watched like an actors roundtable about this movie, and he was saying the director Martin brought the screenplay to him and was like, "I want you in this," and he's like, "This is too good for me," and he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, This screenplay is like I don't know if I'm good enough for this role," and he's like, "Well, I wrote it for you." And it had to convince Colin Farrell to take it because he was afraid he's going to ruin the movie with like his.
Man.
He's like, I'm not a good enough actor to carry this, but he was wrong. It's so fucking good, and it's not even 2 hours long, guys. This is like the shortest Oscar movie. I think there's shorts that are longer than this one. The next one I watched was sort of the opposite end, Blonde with Anna de Armas. It's the NC-17 sort of controversial Marilyn Monroe biopic on Netflix. It's gotten so much shit. People are really hating on it. They think it sucks. Maybe it's my lack of knowledge of Marilyn Monroe's real life story because I'm completely ignorant to her outside of what pop culture has taught me about Marilyn Monroe.
Much, right?
Right. So if I don't know if people are mad because they don't think it's a fair depiction of her life, but if it's even 20% true, it's fucking saddest story ever. She just had a
Wow.
it starts off as her inner childhood where her mother tries to drown her alive in the bathtub.
Holy crap.
And it goes from there. And it's sad, but man, Anna de Armas, I think her real life story is so fucking cool. Like she came to the U.S. with nothing, not even not even speaking English, and she got into Eli Roth's Knock Knock. I think was one of her first movies, and taught herself English and started climbing up the ladder, and was in the newer Blade Runner, and last year or a few years ago she was in Knives Out. And was nominated, and now she's like the lead playing Marilyn Monroe, and she's nominated for Best Actress. So I just love stories where people, go from nothing to something really cool. I don't know. It's a very long and dark movie, but I didn't hate it as much as most people seem to think. Maybe I went in with that knowledge that everybody hated it, and it was better than I expected because of that. I don't know. The next one I watched was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else see that yet?
Not yet.
No.
Very cool sort of stop motion type animation. Very, very different story than most of us know for Pinocchio. Very sad. Very not well, pretty dark, but really, really fantastic. A lot of life lessons in it, but it's definitely not your Disney Pinocchio. I'll say
Right.
that. But it's not horror either. But it's really cool.
You can tell Del Toro's touched it, though?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
because
Oh,
it has like
What I've seen, yeah.
it has like Spanish, influence, and the animation's really cool, and it does have some creepiness to it, but also very uplifting in times, and teaches you a lesson,
Very cool.
And then of course, watched Necromantic and Phantom of the Mall: Eric's Revenge on the last drive-in. Both first-time watches for me.
Oh.
Probably last time watch for Necromantic.
Right.
Oh.
That's fine. It's one of those. It's perfect to like get exposed to it on Joe Bob, watch it, and
Yeah.
not see it again. Like it's fine. It's a perfect thing. Like I can't believe.
I know.
I shouldn't complain, but it's just like people that whole Joe Bob crowd, now that they have the internet to complain. He shows Heathers, they complain. This isn't horror. Blah, blah. Then he shows this, and they complain. It's like, what do you want?
What were they complaining about? I mean, what's
Necromantic is just too much, man. There's no like story to it, and blah, blah, and I'm like, he could literally show any. I mean, he could show my family videos from the '90s. I don't care. Like I just want to hear.
Yep.
He'll make it interesting, And
Oh yeah.
I do love that he chose probably the most vile film he's shown on the show ever
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
say
do.
he's swinging for the fences. I mean, I've heard about it.
Well, he showed it during the wedding episode. So whoever this family who had to like tune in to watch their son or niece or nephew or whoever daughter get married on TV had to sit through the end of Necromantic.
Yes, and that is amazing.
But the segments of that were really fantastic too. They almost had me crying. It was Joe Bob was cracking up. He was crying. It was really well done and really touching and cool. Like this couple won a charity auction to get married on the episode, and they didn't just throw them on at the end. They spent the whole episode getting to know this couple and
That's
doing
pretty cool.
sketches with them. Yeah, it was really, really cool. And Joe Bob dressed as Elvis and married them in Vegas. So,
I-
that's what I watched.
Can I ask a question then? What was it about Necromantic for you that you say you will never watch it again?
Just there's no. I mean, it's not like it was offensive. It's just nothing. It's of no substance to me to watch it again. It literally has no dialogue. It's just a score over disturbing images. And I know there's a story that goes throughout, but it's like that's once is enough. It didn't intrigue me enough. I'm not by any means shocked or offended. I know that's what they were going for with that. That is basically an FU to the German film censors, I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But-
There was that whole movement
Yeah.
in that time period, and there was like so many of these do-it-yourself made films by these German kids and German artists that just put more energy into trying to do gross stuff or offensive than actually to make a quality film. But I think the big difference between all of them, and I'm a big fan of most of them, but all of them and Jorg's films, especially Necromantic, is there's definitely more. I felt like and there's way more talent and thought and process put into, say, Necromantic versus like violent shit,
Oh, yeah.
and so that's what I really appreciate about his films. And to me, yeah, they do lack a obvious story and dialogue and everything you expect from a film. They are definitely, when you watch them, if you can get past what you're viscerally seeing, is that they are definitely more art pieces than they are.
Mhm.
Especially when you watch some of his other stuff like The Death King and, yeah. So
I like part 2 better.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Well, you like it because there's a love story in it.
Well, yeah.
But 2 is even better crafted. Is better crafted than the first Necromantic. Out of that whole, if you can lump all of those films from that era in that German movement, Necromantic 2, looks like freaking, a Hollywood blockbuster compared to the others. There's so much more elevated technical side of things. It's a slower film than the first Necromantic, but it's done way better.
Yeah, people
quality-wise.
thought they might show both on Joe Bob,
Oh,
but
right.
that would make too much sense for him. So he showed Phantom of the Mall, which was a blast too.
Oh yeah,
I've heard that's good.
it's fun. It's definitely 80s. I was getting all excited when he said Necromantic was up next, and I'm like, and I it tweeted out and and was like talking online, being excited about it, and then I got stopped and thought, and I'm like, oh, okay, so the corpse sex scene is one thing, but there's definitely some bad things that happen to animals in this movie. So, and then I kind of got worried about my excitement. So I was just curious on how you took the film.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, the rabbit scene is not even like Cannibal Holocaust because they used stock footage for that.
Yeah.
And the cat scene is fake, so it's like it's not like I'm offended about they didn't kill any animals for this movie, and I don't know. It was shocking to be shocking at times, but it wasn't like try hard for me. It wasn't. I don't know. It's a serviceable movie, and it was perfect for this format. I think.
Cool. Okay.
I'm sure that the married couple's family disagrees, but.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Tad. And I was just curious on your thoughts on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into the movies for this topic: death by internet. Jason, what? Internet. What's our first movie, Jason?
Our first movie is from way back in 2015, and it is called Ratter.
This is my living room.
Oh, nice.
This is my kitchen.
You'll never use it.
Hey, I can cook a little bit.
Oh, your mom's worried you're gonna starve to death.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to.
Wait, Ellie, it's frozen.
God, again, I keep getting these weird text messages.
So you feeling okay out there? Mom, it's so amazing here.
Do you mind if I...
No, yeah, sit.
I'm Michael, by the way.
Emma.
I'll text you. What's your number?
He's really cute.
Wait, do you have a person?
I did. I was seeing someone back home, but we broke up.
Speak of the devil, it's Alex, my ex.
It's 854 Wilson Avenue, apartment 4A. Apartment 4A.
Can you take a picture of us?
Let me put my number in first. It's the least I can do.
Wait, all your photos are gone?
No, not all of them, just certain ones.
I'm so paranoid now. I just feel like some freak is gonna come grab me wherever I go.
Emma, why didn't you tell us this?
Nicole, I just got home. My door wasn't locked. I never do that.
You want to just pop your head in? I'll stay on the phone.
Emma! Emma! I am proud of you. Oh, Mom, I want to hug you right now. I want to hug you right now. Hug you right now. Hug you right now.
Emma, A graduate student living alone in New York City is watched by a stalker on all of her technological devices. And eventually the video feeds are not enough for the stalker. So he starts physically stalking Emma. Oh, guys. I'm so glad I get to talk first on this one. I've been trying to think about it all day on how to be nice.
You don't have to.
So the VHS movies, you know how I feel about those. Well, this movie, I don't think it's necessarily a bad movie. But for fuck's sake, the fucking editing glitchy bullshit every 3 seconds, I cannot stand it.
Yeah.
Like, look at the poster of this. They can't even draw a straight line. Even the text on the poster is jittery. The story is as weak as can be. I don't give two fucks about any of the bullshit red herrings they try to throw at you. There's no story. There's no nothing. All this movie has is a pretty girl, and that's why we all made it to the end of it, I think. And then the ending sucks.
I'm not a fan of the
off.
ending.
Fuck no. Fuck that ending. But so yeah, I didn't like it. And I just it was too bad because I don't think I was filmed all right. I thought it was neat. I thought they did a good job, the concept and things, but god damn it, the fucking jittery bullshit. Just the internet doesn't do that.
No.
How often?
We've all shot hundreds of videos with our phones, and has there ever been one glitch that has ever happened in any of them?
Do we have to be reminded that frequently? It's too much.
Does everybody just bring their laptop into the bathroom? I mean, she could just put it on her cell phone and put her cell phone down and turn the volume up. I'm like, it seemed like she was so reliant to just broadcast her shit, just no matter what it was, the most trivial fucking thing. And
and it definitely, there's definite moments in here where she does not follow reality.
Exactly. That's my major bitch.
To be broadcast.
Well, okay. I just want to state right now is I made the mistake of watching this first, mostly because I've forgotten most of it. That's how forgettable and pointless this movie was. But if I remember right, I took it all as whoever's doing this is taking over all of her devices. She's not filming this stuff.
No.
Okay, good.
Right. No, that's definitely what's happening.
Which, is that even a thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they make webcam covers and stuff for your
but
computer.
your phone?
Sure.
Can you hack somebody's phone and just turn on their camera without
There's
them
a way, I'm sure.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know.
It's connected to the internet, so yes.
As you made it abundantly clear in the bonus episode, I don't know modern technology.
I know.
I'm watching you right now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? How many fingers am I holding up?
They're in. I mean, how many fingers are in?
Yeah, your little Wii webcam, all of the devices.
That threw me off at first, too, when she's
Yeah.
playing tennis. I'm like, because my brain first goes to the Wii, and I'm like, she's got nothing in her hands. And then I realized, I bet it's the Kinect on the Xbox, because that is hands-free.
Okay, yeah, Tad, you're a little quiet. You made me nervous. Do you like
I
this
know.
movie?
I sort of dug this one.
Ah, damn it. See, I knew he was quiet. Damn.
I don't know. I watched this I didn't. Maybe it's my experience because I watched this in the living room on the TV without the surround sound. Just sort of threw it on in the afternoon, and I was I sort of like the different take on. I can't think of a time or a movie where I watched that the killer or stalker took over the devices. I try not to think too much about the logistics But
Right.
And that
I
part's
sort of,
cool for sure.
yeah, I sort of thought the editing was. I mean, obviously the glitchiness stuff was covering up, but it's, I don't know, quick and felt amateurish, and of course it doesn't hurt to look at Ashley Benson for an hour and a half. I dug it. I don't know why. And then the ending. What did you not like about it? Because it wasn't a happy ending.
I can take that because I'm on the same page. I hated the ending.
The
Because
ending is just like, I mean, I almost wish it was almost. I was waiting for like almost like a Reservoir Dogs ending where they kind of break through and they just start opening fire on the guy. But I mean, it's a little bit more true to life, I guess. Uh, just and it's supposed to be disturbing, but
What didn't you guys like about it?
I feel like for what I had to sit through, I needed a bigger payoff. I feel like the idea the whole movie, the ideas are there, just the execution is not good. Just because like it's boring. There's like some of these shots, and again, I know it's all supposed to be reality,
Yeah.
but I'm also purposely watching a fictional film. And if you linger for 5 minutes of the camera being on inside your purse and nothing is happening, you better give me something bigger and better at the end. If I have to sit through looking at the gum in her purse for 5 minutes, and the ending was basically the same. I mean, there's no payoff, and again, also, I'm sorry, Jason,
No,
just
go ahead.
you got to get these thoughts out. But also, if you're gonna have a movie that has a mystery to it, where you feel the need to include red herrings, then I should probably get some kind of payoff to that mystery. And even if it's like a scene, like at the end of the credits or something, where the camera kicks back on and she's like tied up in somebody's basement crying, and then things cut out. I feel like that was a bigger payoff than what we actually got. I think again the concept is cool, where mom is hearing what's happening. That's disturbing as all get out. And then seeing this guy with the duct tape, and then all of a sudden her screams stop. Like so he basically duct taped her head is how I took it. But that's me writing a narrative because you don't see it. And then I'm waiting for some kind of maybe like last second payoff. And that last second payoff is cops walking into the apartment again for 5 minutes, a shot of their feet. So that's it. I'm sorry, Jason. What were you going to say?
No, the ending was just what was gonna happen. Like it's just the inevitable crescendo of the story. It wasn't
Offered nothing.
It was just what it was supposed to be because it's the direction it was going, I guess.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, and then I was like, I thought the mom was the best performance in the whole movie. That Matt McGorry guy was like, I did not like his acting abilities at all. But
when I was watching this, I mean, and I guess this is, if I was writing it, and this is the curve that I would have thrown. If we ever found out who this person was that was stalking him, I would have made it the black girlfriend,
because she was the least. She was
the
only
least
other
likely,
person.
the one that she was confiding in the whole time, feeding her all this information.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I guess after I watched this, it gave me like a deeper understanding and appreciation, for not an appreciation, but an understanding of what Adrian King and Daniel Harris went through, because
The stalkers, yeah.
Yeah, because, and this is when, there wasn't, harsher punishments for this kind of bullshit. I mean, Daniel Harris and Adrian King were looking down the barrels of a gun at one point. So, I mean, it's very serious shit, I mean, Rebecca Schaefer's dead. Guy killed her at her doorstep.
I remember the thing that probably upset me the most about this movie is that was the storytelling. So it bothered me that like she was reacting. Like, I think she experienced 25% of what the audience saw, yet she's reacting in 100% of what the audience saw. Like, she's nervous and paranoid over, like, what does she have to be scared about? Why is she acting so scared over a couple little things that she doesn't know is even
Like
happening?
coincidences, yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it doesn't.
She doesn't know what we know.
She doesn't know what we know, but she's reacting. She's
as if she does,
and that bothers.
We're the ones seeing all the shadows outside the windows, and we're hearing the doors open.
Right.
And
What reason does she have to? I'm not. Yeah, there are things, but
So this whole movie then, I just had this thought. This whole movie then is set up in the Alfred Hitchcock style of there's a bomb under the table, the audience knows it, but the characters don't, kind of thing. Which, in that Alfred Hitchcock thing, there needs to be some kind of payoff to that. And I don't know, Tad, are we making any sense on our dislike of the ending? Cause
I guess so. I sort of liked the ending because it wasn't almost because it was simple and expected, and
okay,
the expected is unexpected. Like it didn't didn't try to like throw in this character we didn't know, or there wasn't some kind of weird twist that it was the friend or anything. It was like literally we just watched her die. After all this, she just goes in and gets murdered, and her mom has to listen to it.
We have no idea.
And it felt visceral. Like it felt this is really what would happen, because no one else believed her. This kind of shit happens to women all the time, and everybody gaslights them into thinking that they're crazy, and it ended up costing her life. And to me, it was like unsettling.
Yeah,
it's a true to life ending, but yet you don't expect it because it's not your traditional movie ending.
Yeah, and that's what I sort of liked about it in general, was it was not a traditional movie. I don't know. I sort of liked that it was just a bunch of like really short clips, and there wasn't a score, and I was like, I just sort of dug that, you know. Maybe that overall this you did a great job picking 3 movies that are similar but very different, and I really like this episode. And it's probably because I really love modern horror too. But yeah,
you got a good point though, Tad. I mean, about the ending.
Yeah, no, I agree with all of that too. I don't know. There's this because I'll be the first guy that'll stand there with you and say, you don't have to be spoon fed everything in a horror movie. The unknown is scarier than the known, right? You know, but there's just something that's missing in the whole film that I don't know, that just kind of, because it's not, because I just feel like the elements of the ending are there. Again, I said, you know, the pieces that I took out of the ending were cool, but at the same time, there's something about the execution that bothered me. I just felt like there just needed to be something more, and I hate saying that because we don't have to always be shown, but I don't know. Whatevs.
Did you have any trivia, Ted?
Yeah, just one piece. This is actually based on a viral short film called Webcam, produced by a German film student. So, German film student made a short, put it online, and went viral, and got this funded.
See, this probably would have worked better as a short.
I haven't watched it, but I'm going to check it out now.
Yeah, ditto. Okay, Tad, then what's our next movie we're going to talk about?
Our next movie is fairly new, from 2021. It is called Untitled Horror Movie.
I don't know if anybody's ever going to see this. I have no reception. My internet is down.
I can open any of the windows or the doors to outside.
I think someone, something, is trying to kill me.
Why doesn't she just break a fucking window? The script literally makes 0 sense.
It's about a spirit that attacks people who sin.
That's literally everyone.
The scenes you guys filmed were good. And if we all did it and took it seriously,
Please.
we could definitely sell it.
Okay, you know you need more than actors and a script to make a movie. You need financing, you need a director.
We keep doing what we've been doing, and we just shoot it ourselves.
On what?
On our phones.
Oh my god, guys.
Was it?
I didn't film that.
No, you're stuffing. Get out of the house.
I didn't film that.
We need to call the cops right now. Whoever did that could still be in your house.
What?
Why would you say that to her?
911, Chrissy, now.
Max, this isn't funny anymore. If you were actually there and you actually shot it.
Why would I tell her to call the cops? I'm not kidding.
Hi. Yeah. Is this 911?
Well, where'd she go?
Where'd she go? Where'd she go?
Somebody call her. Somebody call her.
Are you guys all in on this together? Is this
Off, Kim.
No. Okay, shit.
Do we have a name yet?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking... The Reckoning.
No.
No.
Why?
I don't like it.
All around? No?
Untitled Horror Movie.
What?
Feels very meta.
This is weird.
Hey guys, I don't really know how to work this. How do I hang up?
Is the trailer done, Jason?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. When 6 co-stars learn their hit TV show is about to be canceled, they decide to shoot their own film, unintentionally summoning a spirit with an affinity for violence. I'm jumping straight to the trivia on this one because it has to do with it, but all the actors and actresses filmed their scenes in their own homes during the COVID-19 pandemic when everyone was in quarantine. This is a blast. I fucking love this one. Probably my favorite of the group. Really cool. We had, I'm trying to remember, what was the Shudder one called? Host? Yeah.
Host, yeah.
That was sort of the first one of this like weird, hopefully the one isolated bubble we had where films were being made at home during a global pandemic. But that one's dead serious. This is funny and fun. And it has a great freaking cast, and they really play up to it. I loved all the characters. Everybody sort of had their role. You might recognize Emmy Raver Lampan from the Umbrella Academy. She's in this. Some really Cal Penn makes a cameo. Aisha Tyler has a small role in this, but really creative, really well done. I thought this was really cool. I don't know what else to say. I want to hear what you guys think.
This is a second time watch for me, and I liked it just as much as the second time as I did the first. I thought, and plus, I watched these movies in order, and I felt like I needed this movie after watching Ratter because Ratter is, like we said, that ending is such a just a gut punch and just such a downer. Watching this right after, I was just like, oh yes, I remember this. This is gonna be hilarious and it's gonna be fun. And I think this was written from a very shallow-minded Hollywood perspective because these characters. They're always dressing each other down. I mean, there's no positivity. Like there's like this one moment of tenderness is followed by like 2 or 3, just put downs and stuff. I was just like, oh my God, you guys, you're likable, but you
barely.
Exactly. They go out of their way to make themselves unlikable. Yeah. They make it so difficult to like them, even though you do like them, because their rapport is so funny.
And they also always put their career first. Like
exactly.
All of them are very shallow, and
it's very cutthroat. And but I mean, I think basically, I would have to say, was his name Kip, I believe. Well, I think the writer and the blonde are probably my favorites.
Kip.
Yeah, Kip, and was it
Chrissy?
Chrissy, yes. And Chrissy's only really likable because she's such a freaking dimwit.
Yeah, that's what's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the black gal with the blonde hair, I can't remember
Alex.
her. Alex, yeah. And she's pretty likable too, but like Declan, he's kind of a prick. The other gal is like really, really self-absorbed.
Kelly, yeah.
And Max is okay too. But yeah, they're just but yeah, like they said, they're always ragging on each other. But I mean, and some of their performances are just, when they're doing their scenes is pretty funny. But yeah, I got nothing but good stuff to say about this movie. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I feel bad because I forgot about it, but I'm so happy that we got to revisit it.
Yeah.
I really can't say enough good things about this movie. It's just everybody needs to watch this one.
Well, this movie, it had me pissed off.
What?
Oh boy.
Because of how fucking great it is.
Oh,
it shouldn't be this
you sneaky man.
Well, I'm pissed at Mike because he just like randomly took a chance on this movie that like doesn't have a name.
Yeah, it's
and
for the 2021
I feel like we would have all missed it if you didn't just try it.
Exactly. I was like desperately trying to find something that wasn't previously already on our list. And I saw this, I'm like, oh, I'll give it a shot. I'm kind of digging this this like new style of Skype horror films.
Right, and I'm just pissed at how good it is. At like,
no,
at like starting off and like you hate them all, and you're like, but you like fall for it.
There's something about
There's
them.
something about it that like they just keep hanging you in there for a while, and then you're just sucked in, and you can't not just go with it. So damn it, it's just great. Everyone needs to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blind watch out of nowhere just to have another title on my 2021 year ender, thinking it's probably not going to amount to much, and it ended up being in my top 10. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, it was in my top 10, probably in the top 5.
I think mine was at least an honorable mention. I know for me.
Yeah, so I was really excited with this topic because for those of you who hadn't seen it yet, I wanted to make sure you've seen it because this movie is kind of in that category for me as Brutal Massacre, or just a movie that I love that no one knows about, that I am willing to get up on my soapbox and campaign this movie. And I love, I dug this new sub genre in horror of these Skype type of, webcammy horror films. It's all fun and great, love them. But I find it interesting anytime we get a new subgenre of horror going and there's momentum in that subgenre, then the satirical bastards come out of the woodwork and start doing some really poking jabs at the subgenre with like in a comical satirical sense. But this one's right out of the gate of the subgenre. It like wasted no time poking fun at this subgenre. It is really funny. It's super meta because everything they're talking about doing for making this movie is what actually happens in the movie, down to the title of the movie, naming the movie. It's just, and the characters, you kind of hate them right out of the gate, but there's something compelling about them that's still entertaining to watch, maybe because it's so funny, that because of their characters that makes these situations so funny, or the fact that as much as they do knock each other down a lot, I still feel like there is some kind of bond between them, because when the crap hits the fan, they care. They're caring about what happens to each other. I feel like what would have made this movie more of a success or more in the spotlight if they took the scene where spooky stuff and scary stuff is happening on one camera, and then the other camera, the guy spills his wine, and he's obsessed with spilling wine all over his carpet during this like intense horror scene. If they just would have taken that clip and made that the trailer, because that is the funniest part of the movie for me. I died. He's like so obsessed with spilling his wine, just totally deflating the tenseness of the scene. This movie does the whole Skype thing, but it obviously is It doesn't obsess about trying to make it a like you're watching reality, because the movie has a score. You get some recognizable faces in there, and you don't get any of those weird glitches. So I feel like and that I think plays into the whole satire of the whole thing. And just I don't want to give away the ending, but I just again, the last line of the movie had me in stitches. So funny. So yeah, definitely people out there who have not seen it. It's on Prime, it's on Tubi, it's on Plex, it's everywhere. But I just feel like it has not gotten the attention it deserves.
I think a lot has to do with just the chemistry of everybody. Like I said, everybody, we have like the ditzy blonde, the sort of conceited guy, the smart Kip is sort of like considered like he's the one, the writer who's coming up with this stuff, and all they can do is like give him shit for his mustache the whole movie. You know, Kelly's the lead girl that's taking it seriously and trying to be a serious actor and is always worried about like her reputation in the show. You know, it's yeah.
They're always giving shit to Max about his acting coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's very funny, but also like points the mirror right back at actors.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Awesome. So you brought up trivia right away. Did you have any others you wanted to mention?
No, that was the only thing I thought was really interesting.
Okay.
Is that they actually did. I wondered about that, if it was actually done that way, or you could do that now. And I'm like, that's really well done.
They did a great job with that.
Yeah, they actually did film all their scenes, and I think, was it during credits we saw some bloopers and stuff.
Yeah. Which makes the movie even more meta, the fact that they shot it that way. And within this movie, the movie that they're making within the movie, they're shooting it that way as well. They're shooting all their scenes separately by themselves at home, which those moments are hilarious too. Okay, Andy, what's our next movie?
Our next movie is from 2017, and it's called Like Me.
Turn that off. You're not being safe.
Are you scared of me?
All right. A young woman sets out on a crime spree that she broadcasts on social media. Very, very simple plot. Basically, I guess you want to call our hero, quotation fingers, Kaya, is just basically, we don't get much backstory to her. We just see her. She starts, broadcasting her crimes on social media. This is, since it's basically this generation is just like, it's all about validation on social media anyway. Everybody wants a thumbs up or a heart or whatever. And, she's holding up, convenience stores with fake guns, and she's just doing a lot of weird stuff. And she apparently, uh, has a drug problem, but with like this first hold up she does with probably the only real likable character in the movie, which is this convenience store clerk. It's just, he kind of looks like Bruiser Brody to me, but um yeah, she broadcasts it, and then just the whole internet goes nuts. And basically you kind of get I guess the other heavy of the film by this guy named Bert, which oddly enough, as the movie went on, I ended up hating him the most, because he just reminded me of this your run of the mill keyboard badass
Yeah.
sort of Elliot Roger incel worshipping just pussy that can only be a badass behind a keyboard. But as the movie, goes on, she hooks up with Larry Fessenden, and she makes him do a lot of weird stuff because she basically seduces him. So, and he knows she's 17 years old, but he wants to try to get with her anyway. So, I mean, there's not a lot of real likable people in this movie, and even the people that are reacting to these videos and liking this, this bad behavior, they're not very likable either. Uh, it's got a really cool soundtrack, and it's almost in a weird way, it almost kind of becomes like a drug film too, because they're constantly, Larry Fessenden's, taking hallucinogens with her, because she lets him live. And yeah, it's an odd film, but I liked it. Um, I really love the ending. The ending paid off in spades, man. I loved it. Uh, it's because it's whenever and as I've grown, and even I've even been guilty with it, because I've argued with people online, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I wasting my time on this horse shit? But I mean, you always, you kind of want, you're in the back of your mind, you want to hunt the person down that's fucking giving you shit, and just and finally confront them and see how much of a badass they are when they're actually face to face confronting the person that they're talking shit to. But yeah, just I love this, the sets, like the rooms in the Lollipop Hotel. I mean, it's like I thought like the sets were cool, and it's relevant now, story wise. Yeah, I ain't got much left to it. I mean, I think it should be watched. I mean, I think it's a good movie. What'd you guys think?
I dug this one too, but I know it's because I love sort of pretentious artsy bullshit, and I'm
Right.
taken by neon gels and
Definitely.
weird edits and cuts of things that don't make sense, and weird dialogue between two characters. I love that this whole episode was like a mix of three similar movies, but three very different movies also.
So different.
Right.
Yeah, and I dug this one too. I love the performances. I'm like, this is a film festival movie. This is
Right.
weird and different, but still really cool. Has anybody seen the movie Spree?
No.
It has the kid from one of the kids from
Yeah,
Stranger Things.
the babysitter.
Yeah. But
Joe somebody.
yeah, I thought it was going in that direction. That movie is like basically this kid starts live streaming on his phone, and he realizes the more crazy shit he does, the more watchers and viewers he gets. So he keeps ramping it up until it's gotten out of control, and he's like an Uber driver, and he's like picking up people and murdering them and robbing food trucks and shit. It's basically Grand Theft Auto because he's like seen how many stars he can get and run away from the cops without getting caught. But I thought that was the direction this was going, and I was like, I don't know, because I've already seen that and it's really good. But after sort of the two main characters initially meet up and she sort of takes him captive, it went a completely different direction. But it has sort of elements of hard candy. It has, the revenge element, but also had a little bit of that spree where, getting the attention online. And of course, I just love Larry and everything. And he's fantastic in this. And, you put a fucking, film festival laurel on the poster and I'm probably sold on it. But I made sure not to watch like any previews on any of these, no trailers, no.
Neither.
Other than the title, I saw the posters. I'm like, I just want to go into them blind, and just really loved all three. And I'm probably like the worst host on this episode because I have nothing but nice things to say about all three.
There was some great cuts too of just like really, really snappy cuts of just. I mean, it's disturbing to see pills melting on tongues and Larry Fessenden chewing Rice Krispies and Cheetos and shit.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like some of the like weird bullshit cuts, inserts
Arty
that
as
I.
fuck.
And I love
those
that.
Are always
yeah.
off-putting to me, like the really close chewing videos of like just people eating like really sloppy and just like, oh God, stop.
It was really, as Jason so eloquently put it, arty as fuck. But I felt like it was
more
necessary.
Than just,
It wasn't just to be arty. It was, it was
creating the mood and
not just creating the mood, but the environment of like online videos and stuff. Like your TikToks. All that is like dumb, weird editings and apps and voice distortions and stuff. So I felt like this wasn't being artful for art's sake. It was actually part of the story and the environment.
It had those Joe Bagos neons, which I love. Like, give me pinks and purples, and I'm fucking sold.
Yeah,
well, it's in the family.
I'm with Tad on this one. I dig it.
Because the gas station guy, that's Jeremy Gardner.
Yep.
And he's one of my favorite directors nowadays. He did The Battery and Spring and After Midnight.
Oh, okay.
He's in Christmas, Bloody Christmas and Bliss. And
they're this little indie horror family.
Yep.
Cool.
Do you want to?
You can go ahead.
Oh, I was pissed off at the opening scene just because I like Jeremy Gardner.
Oh.
And I was like, fucking kids,
Yeah.
That's what they're going for, though.
Because I was like, fuck kids. And then I was like, yeah. And then I was like, dang it. That's what they wanted.
That's totally what they wanted from this
they
movie.
got it. And then, and then
the people making the content, the people watching the content, the people reacting to the content. that's the big message of this movie for sure.
I thought Kaya was really fun. She was great and also attractive. That doesn't hurt to have.
She's easy on the eyes, that's for sure.
But I found myself really liking this movie a lot, and just from its arty as fuckness. I love like poor man's Jack Nicholson. He's always just great, Great value, Jack Nicholson. But he was awesome.
Dollar Tree.
Yeah, Larry was the man, and like
he is the man.
And I just, as the movie went on, I kept falling in love with like the aesthetic of this movie, the vibe, the like, just the fuck you. I'm gonna make a different kind of movie that's not like your normal kind of movie, and just the more I got of it, the more I loved it. And it's dirty and it's grimy and it's not. It can get downright gross, but
line of the movie, I would say, "There's an eel coming out of my arm."
Oh yeah.
Michael Jackson eating Fruit Loops.
Yeah, and it's it's definitely a statement on the doomed generation that is these kids these days, and I don't know. It's just I just enjoyed the hell out of it, and I loved how at the near the end of the movie, it's like, most of the movie you're like, okay, this is just fucking crazy, but it's just a movie. It's not reality. It's like it's so crazy. There's no consequence for her. She's basically like a character in a video game, kind of like doing whatever she wants, and and that's just kind of the reality they're kind of building. And then almost near the end, like she has moments of like, oh wait, I could kill somebody. Like I could make this real fast, and like it teetered there near the end, and I just loved how they played with it, and then the ending, it's just like
Yeah, and then
just
bootleg Kyle Rittenhouse's face hit the sand.
Yeah, and then I just I'll take like just not normal shots, if they last 5 minutes, like make you sit and think about it and not let you go. Like those kind of things are, when done right, are just fucking great. So I really like this movie.
I liked it too, and I feel like because there are a lot of times where I will complain about some of these more arty films. I mean, this movie definitely leans way more into its message and its artfulness than actually story or character development. So be aware of that going in.
Yeah.
Because you learn nothing about her, really.
Yeah, it's very vague.
Which is fine. I feel like all of that plays into the story of this movie. It, because these a lot of this YouTube content or TikTok content or whatever is devoid of story or character or personality or any of that. So it really, really works in this film, and that's where I like it when things are over the top, artsy, what have you, when it actually serves a freaking purpose in the film. So again, just of not being arty for being arty. Yeah, and I mean, it's like Andy said, the characters are not likable, but I feel like they picked the right actors to keep you invested long enough. Addison Timlin, who's the lead, she's just this like mousy little girl. That so you're just kind of captivated with her and you want to know more about her. You don't get that, but it's just with her performance and the way she is in this movie and her look, it's just enough to keep you in. And and Larry's character can be a total sleazebag, but there's something about him that you sort of kind of sympathize. I mean, you get those like those heart-ripping stories. You get more character development out of him than the lead. When he's talking about what happened with his kid and stuff like that, and the fact
it just seems like everybody's lost.
Oh yeah.
It's just everybody's lost in this movie, just mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever.
Was I the only one that had the thought of like, when all that stuff that happened with him getting shot was just a paint sniffing hallucination when they woke up on the floor after sniffing paint? I'm like,
I think they
it
did.
was all that, but it wasn't, because
they did mushrooms.
They did mushrooms?
But when they were by the campfire, they did mushrooms.
Yeah, they did that.
And then he got shot.
Yeah, but then when she thought he was dead in the tub, all of a sudden you get these images of spray paint coming across the screen. Another really artful transition moment, and then you get them waking up with spray paint on their face, and him talking about how awesome it is to be sniffing paint. And I'm like, oh man, does that mean the whole getting shot was just a hallucination? But it wasn't, because when he ends up
Still had the
standing
tourniquet.
up after them laying on the floor together for a while, you could see that bandage still on his arm, or that tourniquet. And so I'm like, oh, good, because it was like, if you gave me all of that and then told me it was all hallucination, I'm assuming the eel popping out of his arm is hallucination. But other than that, him getting shot and all that great drama, tension, and her starting to see the reality of her situation and not just looking at everything through her camera. I would have been upset if we lost that, if it was just a hallucination. But I was I the only one that thought that it was just a hallucination until it was proven that it wasn't for me.
I just thought it was just a jump in time. He passed
Okay,
out and she got the tourniquet done, and he was good.
Okay. Well, okay, cool.
But I mean, yeah, but after that, once Kaya starts showing some sort of, I guess, a chink in this armor, and you start to show she starts to show like a little bit of humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets a haymaker to the face, and
I also like, as I kept falling in love with this movie, like I'm just enjoying this like reality that's just dirty and gross and grimy. Like, I felt that's kind of, I really thought maybe I could really get into Glass Eye Pix, like a lot of those films that's Larry's
the production company.
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah.
He's got some great films in there, like Darling by Mickey Keating, The Roost, Ty West, Tom Noonan, The Ranger, the comedy with Tim Heidecker. We got Depraved a couple years ago. Stakeland, Innkeepers, House of the Devil. Like
Stakeland's good.
Glass Eye Pix.
Yeah, House of the Devil's great.
All of those are his production company?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's some solid stuff there, yeah.
Larry's doing some good stuff over there.
And he's directed too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I remember. I can't remember which ones, but awesome. Tad, what trivia you got for this one?
Absolutely nothing. There's not one thing on IMDb about this one.
Okay, cool. All right, great. All right, so there you have it, folks. That is it for the films that we're going to discuss for this episode. But there's still more Attack of the Killer podcast to come. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it'll be segments time here on the show. First, however, you're going to hear a promo for our podcast network called the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. The PFPN is home to over 30 shows, including Unsung Horror. Looking for the best in deep-cut horror movies? Unsung Horror has got you covered. Lance and Erica bring you reviews of unseen horror movies, specifically those with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. From Italian to British slashers to shot on video, no stone goes unturned. Check out Unsung Horror and all the other amazing shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Hey, we're back.
Hey.
It's segments time here on the show. And we're going to start off by hearing from you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we asked, what are your favorite cyber horror movies? And these are your answers. Let's go over to the Facebook group, the group edition. You can find that on Facebook. It's just look up Attack of the Killer Podcast, /group edition. And we got our brand new attacker, Emily Rudolph's up, and she says, Unfriended Dark Web. I don't like
It's a
the
good
first
one.
one very much, but this was great.
God, I'm trying. I remember liking both of those,
Yeah,
but I
you
don't
do.
remember a dang thing about them right now.
I didn't see the first one, but I saw the second one in theaters and really liked it. And I don't think
Yeah.
it's connected. They're not directly connected, so you can watch the second without the first.
Well, isn't one of them? Yeah, I think the first one. I don't know. I think the first one's like supernatural,
Right.
and then the second one is more like reality based.
Yeah, and it's all from like a laptop.
Yeah.
And then over on our Facebook page, we got Casey Kelderman of the newly appointed to the PFPN Screams from the Basement podcast. He says, host. You guys like that one?
Yeah, it was good.
Untitled Horror Movie. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And the underrated Live Scream. One word. Live Scream.
I don't think I've seen that one. I think that's the problem with these films. I like them a lot, but they're starting to get hard to remember because they just kind of all blend together. It's not like you're getting a lot of variety in your camera angles and stuff.
Yep. And then lastly on Facebook, we got Brian Scott. He says, Videodrome comes to mind.
I'll take it.
Also, if Terminator counts, since he's a machine. Plus, we also know it's a slasher movie. Bah, ha, ha, ha. Says Brian Scott. Let's look over here. Oh, nothing on Twitter. Nothing on Instagram. But, oh, Mikey, that red light's a beeping.
Oh, let me get it.
Hey, everybody, Attacker Brian here for my bi-weekly phone call, and it sounds like we're talking newer horror technology this episode. So stuff that deals with social media and the internet or cell phone cameras and death. So when I think about that, I go to Don't Fuck With Cats. I know it's a series, but it's only about 3 hours and 10 minutes long, so it's shorter than most of the Oscar movies that are getting nominations right now. Let's go with Host, Hard Candy, one of the early ones, one of the really good early ones, and how about Captain fucking Howdy in Strangeland, D. Snyder? I hear that D wants to bring that series back. I think everybody would be excited for that. So next time you're listening to the Attack the Killer podcast, when your phone starts to creep towards your face, maybe the guys are after us. But then again, they won't kill all their listeners. Hope you guys have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.
What's he talking about? We love you guys.
That's right.
But there in the beginning, man, he sounded a lot like Mike there with the how old he was, like talking about movies. No, just me.
Just you.
All right, so where'd it go? Yeah, you can leave your voicemail and get your voice on the show. You can call us at 415-952-6857, or that is 415-95-AOTKP. Leave us a voicemail, get on the show, and that is shout-outs. But we're not done yet. Look out over there. What's that over there? Oh, my gosh, it's Insane Picks.
There are times when even the most hardcore horror fan wants to watch something else. Insane's Picks brings you titles that are not horror films, but films that would still appeal to horror fans, with maintaining the quality you expect from an Insane's Pick. This film is no exception. Now see, I love gritty, gross, sleazy, dangerous New York films from the 70s through the early 90s. Stuff like Maniac, Chud, Basket Case, New York Ripper, The Exterminator, Street Trash, even Combat Shock. This episode of Insane's Picks is one of the best of the sleazy New York films, and I'm talking about The Tenement from 1985. Directed by Roberta Findlay, who directed Blood Sisters, Primeval. Roberta was born and raised in New York and even grew up in a tenement. She got her start as a cinematographer in adult and exploitation films. The Tenement is a classic siege plot that you've seen before in other low-budget films and exploitation movies, from like Night of the Living Dead to Assault on Precinct 13. A South Bronx gang uses the basement of a low-rent tenement building as their hideout until the residents of the building have them removed. Now, for revenge, the gang rapes and kills the people who live in the building. However, the tables turn, and the surviving residents fight off the gang and hold their ground in a viciously Home Alone style of revenge. The film is very visceral, with some cool kills and some fun over-the-top characters, both in the people who live in the building and especially the gang members. The film has a lot of the dread and despair that you expect from low-budget sleaze 1980s New York flicks. There's a lot of time spent with the people who live in the building before the gang invades, way more than you would expect from a picture like this. The film features Paul Calderson, who is in like Kings of New York, Pulp Fiction, Four Rooms, Bad Lieutenant. And it also has Dan Snow. For all of us horror fans out there, we would know him as Cigar Face from the Toxic Avenger films. This is a film with the honor of receiving an X rating from the MPAA. One of the few films who has received an X rating for violence only. If you're a fan of simpler times in New York in the 70s and 80s, you miss the days of wholesome entertainment featuring drug abuse, hookers, rat-infested apartments, and psycho street gangs, then you need to see The Tenement from 1985.
Ooh, sounds fun.
It is. And this episode was fun.
It was.
But it is at its end. Aww. That is it for this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. I want to thank you all for listening. Be sure to rate us on iTunes. Check us out on our YouTube channel. Leave us comments on Facebook. All that cool stuff.
Watch Andy through his phone.
Yes, watch Andy through his phone. We'll send you that link. If you want the show to continue, become an attacker by going to jointheattackers.com. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Wow.